Of course, the biggest story on everybody's mind today marks exactly 1 week since the Christmas Day bombing. And we're getting our first look from above the damage. Look at this. This is the FBI's flight restrictions that have been lifted. Drone 4 flew over 2nd Avenue North. It certainly looks a lot cleaner than it did, but all of those buildings on the right-hand side, see all that damage? Metro Public Works has been sweeping the debris away, removing burnt cars. But as you look at that, the roofs, the windows, the debris, man, there is still so much left to clean up here. We can also see a couple buildings that are barely left standing. It's clear there's still so much rebuilding work still ahead. And 7 buildings along 2nd Avenue North have been deemed unsafe. This is by Metro codes. For now, that means businesses like the Melting Pot, Rodizio Grill, Simply the Best $10 Boutique, Nashville Wine and Spirits, and then also Hooters and the Old Spaghetti Factory don't have a place to call home. Most of those buildings are directly across the street from where that bomb went off on Christmas morning. One's a bit further down the street near the George Jones Museum. Now, 400 people lost their homes that day. 1,200 people lost the places they worked. News 4's Marissa Sulik was there as dozens received food and other necessities from the Community Resource Center. Marissa, tell us, they must have been so thankful for this.
Absolutely, they absolutely were, Lauren. And as you can see behind me, this strip on 2nd Avenue, you kind of overlooked this already, but 45 plus businesses were displaced, and that's about 1,200 employees. Now, I talked to some of those employees today who say while they may have lost it all, they still have some glimmer of hope.
It's a new year, but the people waiting inside these cars are still trying to recover from the last week of 2020, like Michelle Leelighter.
My fiance and my fiance's son, they work at Rodizio's and I work at the Melting Pot. So all 3 of us lost our job like that.
Both those were once restaurants in the same building on 2nd Avenue. Now gone after the Christmas Day explosion and the water damage this past week.
With the sprinklers being running for 36 hours, the rain yesterday, and Metro Water's talking about how the sewage lines probably are gone. We are okay right this second, but we don't know what the future holds. Flat out, like, I'm gonna take what I can get at this point so that we know that we're gonna be okay for at least a couple of weeks.
6.
That's why they're here at the Community Resource Center, waiting to go through these gates to get a box of food and toiletries.
Toothbrushes and deodorant.
One of almost 1,500 boxes these volunteers put together on Thursday for those affected by the bombing.
You know, from general managers to dishwashers, and so your needs are going to vary across your family.
My mental health on this whole thing has not been great. I cry at the drop of a hat.
While Michelle says finding another job during the pandemic will be difficult, she's appreciative of the community's support.
Nashville, you're amazing, and we will be back, and we'll take care of you guys.
Now, Michelle says she does plan to file for unemployment, and while they were waiting in line for food and toiletries there, she says that was some of the first times since the explosion that she got to see some of her employees, and she said that was great to see. Lauren?
Yeah, Marissa Sulik, thank you so much. You got to think it's got to be so hard for them. So if you want to help, here's a way that you can take care of the victims. The United Way is activating its Restore the Dream Fund, and they're accepting donations right now, and every dollar helps somebody seriously affected by this bombing. Again, 400 people lost their home, 1,200 people lost their places of business. Find out how to donate right now. Just head over to the News 4 app.